can be quite a challenge to define what makes a great driving road a great driving road. Is it rhythm, elevation, challenge, danger, flow? Arguably, it's all of these and more, and it's essentially what makes finding them, both virtually and in the real world, a real result. In the first episode of Greatest Driving Roads, we headed to the fast and flowing LA Canyons, a series of open roads that will continue to deliver diverse and rich experiences, particularly ever since the Soul mod has arrived, further lending to its range and scope. Today, however, we travel to the Czech Republic to a location called Hradek. Hradek has 4 layouts, an outer ring, 2 rally stages, and the part that interests me the most, the free roam layout. Now Hradek, while grounded in the reality of the real location, it's actually a fantasy map, and it's one that's just bursting with charisma. For me to be able to show you this incredible location, we're going to need a motor, and for this trip, this is what we're going to take. This is the 2015 Ford Mustang GT. This is the V8 model, so it's packing a 5 litre flat plane crank V8 which produces 435 brake horsepower and 542 Newton meters of torque. It tilts the scale at a reasonably portly 1680 kilograms, so almost 1700, but it still manages to give a healthy brake horsepower per tonne ratio of 260 brake horsepower per tonne. That results in some pretty compelling performance figures, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds with a top speed of over 160 miles per hour. Now, a little while back, my fiance was kind enough to treat me to a few car sample track days, and one of the cars that I got to drive in anger was the 67 Shelby Mustang GT 500. And one of the other cars was a Mustang GT V8 that had been breathed on by the good people over at Roush Performance. Now, it gave me an eye-opening sample of why there's just so much love for the Mustang, and why having a V8 in it is quintessential to the experience. The engine absolutely blew me away. On the track it was far more competent than I imagined that it would be, and it gave me the impression that it would be an absolute hoot to drive on a UK back road. And that is the one thing that I didn't actually get to do with it. So this drive is effectively giving me a chance to do just that, jump in and find out what this car behaves like on a back road. It's kind of the polar opposite way round that most people get to do this. I think it's time to get out and actually start this journey. Hradek is really one of those roads that you need to just download and drive yourself to be able to get a sense of why it's so special. I think the thing that makes it appeal so strongly to me is its string of connected A and B roads that really give you what feels like endless route possibilities. And when you first get out into this free roam mode, it's an adventure, establishing what roads lead to where, if they go to anywhere at all, if they lead to a back road, if they go up a hillside, if they turn into a rally-esque climb or descent. Now this, I can assure you, goes on for quite some time as you begin to familiarise yourself with what's where and fundamentally what leads to where. And then the familiarisation kicks in and you start to do loop-based cruises where you definitely know what's coming and you definitely know where you're going to go next. If you've ever gone for a drive in the real world with no actual place to go other than just going for a drive, you and the car stretching its legs, then you're going to know what this feels like. And Hradek allows you to do this with your virtual car collection. Almost every single time I go out on this map, I discover a brand new route. I'm probably up to 8 or 9 different routes now, and I haven't tried any of them in reverse yet, so you get a sense for just how diverse the options can be when you're at this location. Now, whilst the town is clustered together, you will begin to notice quite a bit of variety in the landscape, which in itself lends itself to building that local knowledge for better and better drives. There's always something distinct to let you know roughly where you are as you begin to piece the roads together and realise what's connecting to what. It's a fantastic experience. Now, hardly any of the roads are perfectly flat. There are inclines, surface changes, cambers changing just about everywhere, so it's really representative of European roads, and particularly so of UK roads. The scale allows you to get a sense of vehicle performance. If you jump into a hot hatch here, it feels peppy and zesty, like you can really explore the performance envelope that the car's offering you. And if you jump into something like this, the Mustang V8, you can really appreciate the step change in performance. It becomes much more about an exercise of restraint rather than just being able to push right to the edge. And amazingly, if you take out something that's properly fast, a supercar, it doesn't overpower the location. You can still navigate the roads that lend themselves to that car the most. And speaking of a breadth of variety of cars that you can take here, I'd be remiss to gloss over the off-road sections that this map offers. I tell you what, let's quickly jump into something that's a bit more suitable, and then we'll jump back into the V8. This Cayenne Turbo and all of the other SUVs that Assetto Corsa offers, finally, to me at least, feel like they've got some purpose and utility when it comes to having access to maps like this. Forceful done a great job of bringing this 2018 model year Cayenne Turbo to AC, and it really feels at home here. Exploring in these particular vehicles, it's a must, as it never feels wrong to deviate from the beaten track and just drive up some rugged land at awkward angles and feel what these cars are capable of. So dust off your Levantes and your Macans. This title AC, it could definitely do with more of this type of map where you get to drive differently. So, back in the Mustang, it feels like I'm full circle on this experience with this car. It really is a great drive. A throaty, hearty, revvy engine, a pliable chassis that's absolutely up for European roads. This car is a garage staple that I definitely will be coming back to. So, Hradek, is it perfect? No. You probably noticed some of the visual aberrations as I've been driving around. Sometimes the scenery seems to separate in the middle. There's even a really freaky zone in the middle of the map that has signs that are literally just floating in the air. But none of this takes away from the accomplishment that Simtraxx have made here. They've given a location that makes you feel like you've got choice, and that's something that I don't see in a lot of the road courses. We've got point-to-point A to Bs, we've got loop circles, but we don't have choices that are being offered to you almost every sort of 20, 30, 40 seconds. I would love to see this finished and moved on from being a 0.75 beta to a full 1.0 release. Correction of the scenery gaps would be a great start, and some more road signs urging you away from the less complete sections of the map would definitely help as well. There's actually a few construction workers at the end of some of the roads to try and tempt you away, but certainly for the ones that don't go anywhere, that would be helpful. You know what? I actually enjoy driving this track so much that I feel like it would be worthy of its own mini-series, like a Just Driving or Drive with Dre. And actually, do you know what? In fact, let's call it that. Let's call it Drive with Dre. We'll get out, find some new routes, and drive some really different types of cars with no performance benchmarks or anything like that. Just see what they're like and see what the mods are like. As for Hradek, the key thing here is, if you've ever enviously looked at the likes of Forza Horizon 4 and wished that you could free roam like that but with Assetto Corsa cars and Assetto Corsa physics, then don't hold back. Visit this amazing driving road.